All right, everyone. What's going on? Time for another Livepeer Q&A. I'm Doug Mechanics.
And I'm Eric Tang.
Good to see everyone today. This is the third or fourth time we've done one of these Q&A sessions. Usually what we do is we ask for people to send questions to us on Twitter or in our chat room on gitter.im/livepeer. You can find our chat rooms there. And then we collect them over the course of the week, and we talk about one topic, and then we run through some community questions. So I thought what we would do this week is kind of address something that I wrote a blog post about last week called Livepeer for Beginners. We had a lot of feedback that our forum updates and our technical blog posts and following along with the project on Gitter was good if people already knew a lot about Livepeer and they'd read our white paper and they were really familiar with crypto. But for people who are newer to the project or maybe had less technical familiarity with what was going on in decentralized tech, it was kind of hard to kind of breach the surface and understand what we were up to at Livepeer. So wrote a post called Livepeer for Beginners. It's on Medium. You can find it at medium.com/livepeer-blog, and it should be one of the first links there. I thought we'd just summarize some of what was in there because we got a lot of good feedback that it helped people and they appreciated it. So we'll start there, and then I think there's about 5 or 6 questions that came in from the community, and we'll get to those at the end. Sound good?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so basically the beginning of the post says, Livepeer is building technology for broadcasting and streaming live video over the internet. So that's it. If you want to stream live video, just like we're doing right now, you could do that using Livepeer. In fact, we're live streaming this through Livepeer. There's really 3 different types of users who can consider using that or benefiting from it in different ways. So do you want to mention who they are?
Yeah, so the 3 types of users are, one, developers who are looking to build live streaming applications for other people to use, or they're building an application and they want to add a live streaming feature in their application. 2 is for any broadcaster who have a large audience and they have a high streaming fee that they want to avoid. And Livepeer is doing streaming in a peer-to-peer way that kind of cuts down a lot of the cost in like running this infrastructure. And number 3 is any individuals who want to kind of stream their content out to people. So whether you're a video game player or you're coding, you're streaming your coding sessions, or you're an entertainer, educator, anyone who's looking to kind of reach their own audience from where they are, we want to use Livepeer.
Yep. Yeah, I think what's interesting is those first 2 types of users Eric mentioned, the developers or the broadcasters, they would use Livepeer directly because Livepeer is infrastructure. Like they either have like built their own applications already, or they use their own service providers, and they just need infrastructure to power all this video moving around the internet under the hood, and that's what Livepeer is directly. The third type of user Eric mentioned, kind of the independent live streamer, whether it's a gamer or an entertainer or a teacher, I would say right now they wouldn't necessarily be able to use Livepeer directly. They would have to use an application that was built that lets them plug into Livepeer.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing that right now using an existing application called OBS, the Open Broadcasting System. So, existing broadcasting software already enables people to do this. And then there's also a desktop app called Livepeer Desktop that you can just download and double click and start streaming as well. But Livepeer is not itself an application that an end user would use, though there are applications that you can use to use the Livepeer network and the infrastructure.
Right, but our hope here is that because everyone who's streaming has slightly different needs, right? Like if you're a video game streamer, you probably want to stream your video session, like your gaming session, and your face in the same stream, versus if you are an entertainer, you probably need, maybe even a crew that helps you do this, and you need a different application to help you, like maybe produce this session live, right? So everyone kind of has slightly different needs, and our hope is that for Livepeer, Livepeer is going to be able to power all these different applications that people can build. And what we really offer is this really much cheaper and easier way for people to build applications for their own need. And that's, I think that's what really differentiates us from another player.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so the rest of the post goes on just to kind of summarize in bullet form at a very high level what Livepeer is. And we've already just touched on a little bit of this, but we'll just try and keep it short and simple and concise. So first of all, Livepeer is live video infrastructure. Like we said, we're the layer beneath the consumer application. We're what powers all this video moving around the internet. So think of us more like a technical protocol rather than an application. So we're infrastructure, right? Yeah. The second point is that Livepeer is decentralized. Do you want to mention what that means?
Right. So decentralization has a couple different meanings, and I think the biggest one to me personally is this idea of no one really owns the network, right? So if you think about a traditional way to kind of broadcast a video, you are using some application and perhaps some service, and you are kind of streaming your video stream to this service, and this service is then relaying your video to a bunch of to the users, and you're usually paying this service to do this. For Livepeer, there is actually no service. For Livepeer, for us, the Livepeer organization, we're really just building software that anyone can run. And what you're streaming to, instead of a service, you're streaming to a network of individuals who have elected to join the network and to provide service for this network. And it might, at the beginning, it might feel like a very small and subtle difference, but nevertheless, I think it's an important difference because number one, this means no one single party has the power to censor anybody or turn any stream off. And it also, the competition in the market theoretically really pushes the price down. And there's no one player in here that has all the pricing power or has all the curation power or all the censoring power.
Yeah, yeah. Livepeer is not owned by any one company or person. It's owned by everyone who runs the software on the network, and the network can't be shut down or stopped by cutting off any one person or company, as long as some collection of people are running Livepeer software anywhere around the world, then this service it runs in a decentralized way.
Right. So in my mind, it really is this complete set of tool that anyone needs to kind of broadcast from start to finish without relying on anybody else to kind of provide this service for you.
Yeah. Cool.
So the next one is about incentives,
Yes.
which is a lot of what our protocol does. Maybe Doug, you can take this one and explain our.
So
incentives.
Livepeer is incentivized, which means that you actually have a reason to want to run the Livepeer software, and that reason is essentially money. If you run the Livepeer software and you give your compute power and your bandwidth to the Livepeer network in the service of encoding and distributing video, you will be compensated. And simple as that. We let the protocol and the rules in the market determine the price, but there's real demand for broadcasting live video on the internet. People pay a lot of money for it, and the Livepeer protocol passes that money, again, not to any central company or single person, but to everyone who participates in the network by running the software and participating in the protocol.
Right. And the important thing is anyone is able to participate. Anyone, like as long as you have the skill set and you have the kind of the access to these hardwares, which anyone can have access to, you can participate in this protocol and be rewarded for it.
Yeah. So that brings us to the next point, which is important for decentralization and for incentivization, is that Livepeer is open. So all of the code that we write is open source. The protocol is published in our white paper, which is also up on GitHub. Anyone can review it, give comments, update it, make requests to update the code or the specifications. And it's really it's a community effort. Anyone can contribute. Anyone can build what they want on top of Livepeer, and there's no restrictions, and there's no one that can control or censor or cut off what you choose to use Livepeer for. I like to say, like, you can build what you want and you can stream what you want using Livepeer. Okay, so the next point's a little more technical, but I think it's important to the core of the project, which is that Livepeer is built on top of Aetherium. So this could be a long discussion about what this means. Maybe you could try and give the beginner version of what that means, that we're built on Ethereum.
Right. So I think first of all, for people who aren't necessarily interested in the technical details, they can totally ignore this point, and it's almost completely transparent to you. But for people who are interested in like why we're building on Ethereum or what it actually does, it all comes down to this fact that we need, in order for us to distribute, in order for the protocol to distribute rewards to anyone who joins the network, like we talked about before, there has to be a fair and one way for everyone to agree with each other who has done what work. And this is a consensus problem where everyone has to kind of, without talking to each other, everyone has to agree on this one fact.
Kind of the rules of the system need to exist somewhere that everyone agrees upon them.
Right, and just like Bitcoin kind of enables people to agree who has paid what amount, Ethereum allows us to kind of create this set of rules that basically we decided to to determine who has done what work, and this kind of allows anyone to be able to get paid with something with value, which is a Livepeer token.
Yeah, which brings us to the next point. So Livepeer has its own crypto token. It's called Livepeer token, abbreviated LPT. And a lot of people have only heard of crypto tokens in the context of initial coin offerings or ICOs, which is a term that I don't necessarily like because I don't think it describes what we're doing at Livepeer. But when these crypto tokens really make sense, it's because they have an important use for the utility of the network that they're involved in. So Livepeer has a token, and all the compensation through Livepeer is done using Livepeer token. If you want to broadcast video, you pay Livepeer token. When you run the software and do work to aid in encoding and distributing video, you earn Livepeer token. And there's a couple reasons for using a token, but one of them is it has a very important use in the security protocol of guaranteeing that the work that was done correctly, and it has an important use in the staking protocol that determines who the stakeholders are in the network and who kind of is basically putting their funds at risk in order to guarantee the security of this network. And it's a long protocol design discussion, which you can read about in our white paper, but know that the Livepeer universe has its own crypto token. It's used for exchange, it's used to guarantee security of the network, and that these crypto tokens can generally be exchanged for other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, or even eventually to traditional government currencies like dollars or euros through this whole exchange ecosystem which exists in the cryptocurrency world. So yeah, that's the crypto side. The other thing that's worth mentioning about this token is that everyone who holds the token has the opportunity to participate in the Livepeer network. Once you are a holder of this token, you're a participant and you're a stakeholder, and you have a role to play in that network. And that can be through the right to perform the actual work of encoding and distributing video, or it can just be you can have the right to basically elect and delegate who will play that important role of providing this high quality video encoding and distribution network. So everyone who holds this token wants the network to be as useful as possible, because that's really what the backing value of the network is. It's how many people want to use it to broadcast video, and how many services exist around this ecosystem to solve people's kind of real video needs. Cool. So I guess the last thing to cover as it relates to Livepeer for beginners is just kind of what are the results? Like, what does the resulting network look like due to all these properties that we just talked about? And like we said, it's an open system. It's for broadcasting video, and there's really, like, I think 4 key properties that we want this network to have. Right? We want it to be cheap to use. We want to let users and developers and broadcasters control their own user experience and monetization. They can build what they want, they can stream what they want, and they can charge how they want. We want this network to scale to support any size audience and viewership, and that's what the kind of incentives and the protocol create. If the incentives are right, then there'll be enough computing power and bandwidth on this network to scale to any size. And we want a thriving community of participants who all stand to benefit from doing work that increase the usefulness of the network. And that's really one of the key reasons to use a token and to have it have this valuable use in this network, is that anyone who holds the token wants the network to be as good as possible and can contribute in all different ways, from creating content and streaming, broadcasting, to doing development, doing design, doing marketing and evangelism, signing up businesses, signing up customers, and this crypto token model really aligns nicely with that. If you look at the differences between that sort of network and kind of the traditional ways that people do broadcasting right now in centralized providers, there's really 2 different alternatives that people use right now. One is they use existing centralized providers to provide a lot of these similar services, but they're just paying a centralized company to do it. And that can be potentially more expensive. They might have content restrictions. You might have to prepay to provision infrastructure, and you might have to even run your own infrastructure if you license the software and have to build stuff on your own. The kind of second way that people broadcast right now is they use existing social networks and social services like Facebook Live or YouTube Live or Periscope. And these are great because they're free and they handle the scaling for you to reach as many users as you want. But some of the weaknesses are that they control the user experience entirely. You don't get to build what you want. People consume it through those platforms. They control how you monetize your users, and they restrict what sort of content you can play. So that might be fine for many use cases, but not fine for others. And at the end of the day, Livepeer is really about freedom and empowerment to build what you want, monetize what you want, handle your infrastructure and your scaling for you, and really let you have control of connecting directly with your audience in the way that you want to connect with them. So that's hopefully a good beginning overview of Livepeer, and I hope that's helpful. Cool.
All right.
Do we have time to answer some of the questions that folks asked?
Yeah, I think we can spend a couple minutes doing that.
All right. Okay, so here's a good question. I'm a broadcaster, and I want to broadcast via Livepeer. So what's the easiest way to stream my content into the network?
Yeah, I think there are. So first of all, there are many ways you can stream your video into Livepeer. But currently, as of today, I think the easiest way would be to download the desktop application and stream that through that. The desktop application is actually created by a community member of ours, and it's a pretty user friendly interface that kind of takes out a lot of the complexity of interacting with the Livepeer protocol and just focuses on the action of broadcasting and viewing a video.
Yep. Just download, double click, press go, and you're broadcasting into Livepeer from your webcam.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. So let's move on to the next one. Let's do this one. The overall question: how will Livepeer evolve over time?
All right. Yeah. So software development is an iterative process. You're never done. Really would like to release as early as possible so that people can start using this, and that's when you get feedback, you find out what people are using it for, what sorts of things people are building, what they need, and you iterate based on customer feedback, just like you would in any kind of traditional software development process. There is one big difference with these decentralized tech projects running on Ethereum, is that once you deploy a version of your protocol, upgrading it can be a challenge, especially because you need this whole network of people to trust in the rules of the protocol, and they have to choose to support these upgrades and come along with the new versions. So upgrading becomes a little difficult, but what we've done is we've outlined basically 5 or 6 phases of our network over time to specify like different release milestones in the future. We have a blog post about this called the Livepeer Network Phases, and they start with kind of the minimum viable proof of concept network that let people broadcast video and let people earn token for running the software and doing work. And then at the very beginning, there's a little more kind of centralization and trust than we want there to be over the long term. The reasons for that are because we have to test out these economics and make sure that they lead to the right incentives and the right behavior. And we have to have the right paths for upgrading once we get the support of some of these other projects that we're relying on that are still being built that might be months or years out in the future. And so this ecosystem just isn't really ready yet for a really complex project that touches every part of the development stack to be deployed today and run forever without a single update. So a lot of these updates say that, okay, first we'll have the minimum viable product, then the next release cycle will focus more on kind of fixing bugs and adjusting economics based on what we learn right away, but also more proper metering and payment for different types of transcoding, supporting more operations on the video. Other releases include ones with user-facing focus, with less focus on the infrastructure and more on kind of the broadcaster, developer usability of the protocol. We have one release that's really aimed at just removing any centralization from the verification of work. That's moving to a new system being developed called TrueBit, and that's how we'll verify that the work that is in the network was done correctly without having to trust any party. And then additional updates that support more enhanced governance for the future. And really, like I said, it's all aimed at going from something that you prove kind of works and solves the basic problem to higher and higher quality of service and more features, along with less trust and less centralization, and moving towards full trustless decentralized video broadcast network where there truly is no single party or company that anyone has to rely on for any aspect within the network.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So here's a good one, and this one's popular. Can I build a decentralized YouTube on Livepeer?
Right. I get this one a lot. Especially when I talk about video, and everyone just automatically start thinking about YouTube, which is props to them. Like, YouTube has built a great product. And I would say, so there are many aspects of YouTube, right? And I'd say the main use case is to watch what people call video on demand. These are pre-recorded videos that you go online to kind of stream, right? But these are not live streams unless you're using the YouTube Live product. And for Livepeer, the crux of the protocol and the core system is enabling the live piece of this video, right? It means the videos that you are watching through Livepeer are happening right now in the moment. Now, there in a later release, we're also adding a feature that allows you to stream and then also record that video and then be able to play that video later on. So I think over time you will be able to build a YouTube utilizing what Livepeer is offering, and utilizing some other systems that kind of like stores the video, these like pre-recorded videos, and do the playback as the users want to play them.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think the short answer is, like, if someone wants a decentralized YouTube to exist, and there's a lot of reasons why people might want that, like, yes, absolutely, get started building that. But there's a lot that goes into a really complex, powerful site and user experience like YouTube beyond just the live video streamer or even the recorded video access. And Livepeer could be a really important layer for building the decentralized video infrastructure that powers YouTube. And there's a lot of other projects and areas of the stack that you can use to build the other functionality, like the user management and the reputation systems and the ratings and the monetization and search and discovery and all those other challenges as well. So for those of you who want the decentralized YouTube to exist, I suggest you get started on a great user experience now, and I would love to help you with the kind of decentralized video streaming aspect of it as well. So. Cool. All right. I think, should we wrap it up for today?
All right.
All right. Thanks for joining this community call with Livepeer. You can find us at livepeer.org. Join our chat room and our forum that's linked there, and we'll answer more questions next time.
Yep.
So I think, what do? I always end the stream a little too early for the live viewers. What do? I stop recording now, but we let this run for another 30 seconds or so. So we'll see you guys soon.